start with boundaries. Things that you want to let go, whether it's current or if it's something in the past, it's something that you want to let go of. It could be what no longer serves you, habits, fears, names, which would be people or moments in your life. And you can go ahead and say,
I mean, I could get started.
It went out, Rick.
Nah, it didn't. I'm just let I don't
She
know.
about to start talking.
I don't know the mic. I'm just let.
yeah, we can just go like this.
It'll pick up the voices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so again, I'm Asia. I have been in social service field since I was a kid. I grew up in Montessori school. Montessori is all about community and social service, and giving back to the community. So I pretty much work with every social service program, organization that we have in our city. So I recently just went back into case management at GCB a year ago. What made me want to go back into it was, I don't know, something in my mind. God just told me. It just was on my heart to do mental health and homelessness. And so maybe a week later, GCB called me, and my exact job title was case management, outreach case management for mentally ill people experiencing street homelessness. So you ask me, you shall receive. God has been looking out for me in those ways. My healing journey though started when I was just a kid. I was raised without my father. I didn't know him, so God was my first dad. And so I've always had this light inside of me because of that. But because of my family, even though they grew up, I guess they grew up in Christ, but they're more Pentecostal, so they grew up in fear of Christ, which caused them to have fear of everything, and kind of just live a safe life, which is cool. But I've always been more of a trailblazer. I've always been an independent thinker, and I've always been one who wanted to be out, who's on the ground in the community. So with that, growing up in a family who doesn't believe in that, it was kind of hard to find my way. Going into school, I went straight into nursing school knowing I wanted to be a case manager. Just because that's what they felt was safe. They knew money was there to go be a nurse. But I struggled hard. I did nursing school for about 2 years, and I mean, when I say struggle, I meant struggle mentally. School's easy for me. But mentally, I knew I wasn't where I needed to be. So I changed my major to case management, or I changed my major to social work, enrolled at UC, but I still had that fight between me and my family. There's no money in social work, which I know, but yeah, that's the thing I always got. There's no money in social work. You can't do social work. There's no money in it. So I met my ex-husband, and I was already kind of hustling, selling clothes, selling drinks, and things like that. And he kind of just told me to believe in myself. So in that, I started finding, I looked into God more because I needed to know how to believe in myself. And so that's when I learned about the gifts that He gave us. I learned about my place in the world as far as when it comes to family. So like you mentioned family earlier, the family that I create in the community is essentially more important than the one I was born into. They are just my vessel. So I had to come to terms with that, and that was when I was able to go out on my own and do my own thing. And so with me having like I said, my ex-husband encouraged me to do my own thing. First thing was me going into business for myself. That's when I opened my first boutique in Bond Hill. I had that for about 5 years. We got a divorce. I kind of fell low again, had to find my way again. And like that's when I said it just came to me that you want to go back into social work. So GCB was my best way to get back into it. And since then, I've run into so many clients who morally, I do what I do because of God. So morally running into people on the streets, and they instantly didn't like me because of who I was before. So I knew then it was going to be, obviously eventually going to have to change because morally they just didn't align with what I had, with what I aligned with. And then I met my client, Miss Patricia, and like she was saying, I don't know if you heard it, if you meet her on the street, you would just think like, oh, God, get out there, because she mumbles when she speaks, just because of her past drug habits or current drug habits. She's frail, the older black woman, kind of looks the part. So you wouldn't listen to her. But I have the patience to try to listen, and I'm the one that ended up listening to her. Usually I ended up with our worst clients. I ended up with our hardest clients in GCB because I had the patience to deal with them. And she was probably the hardest. She didn't do the work. And I was still willing to work with her with those things. I understood her need more than anything else. I understood she didn't not. Even with the clients telling me they didn't like me because I worked with GCB, I realized I know it's not me. So I realized she wasn't hitting me. She wasn't lashing out at me. She was lashing out at the services that were being provided to her because I worked with GCB. So after listening to her and really paying attention to her, that's how I with the two other clients that repeat the same thing over and over again. That's when it clicked for me. This is what psychosis is. So once I realized that that's what the psychosis, when I learned about psychosis, I really didn't even need to do much research. So that's another thing when it comes to case management. I never felt the need to go to school because what God gave me is the ability to be able to listen, be patient, and be there for people, and speak and be active. I don't mind saying what I need to say. So yeah, from there, like I said, I met her. She's never even on my caseload. I just kind of took her. And from there, I listened, and I realized what her need was. I realized what her need was, and when I initially tried to help her do my job, I was told to shush. I don't know. Yeah, I was told to shush. I was told watch your mouth, watch what you say. I'm still being told that. There might be some legal things going on now too, so I need y'all. I might need y'all as support, but I was told to shush, and the moment somebody tells me to be quiet, I know I'm advocating for the right thing. I left my job the next day. And so I've been working with her now independently for 2 weeks, unpaid. I'm out here anyway. I'm outside anyway. I'm gonna make money anyway. Me helping her, I don't need money to help her. So since I've been helping her though, we have been able to, they put her up in a hotel, which is something they could have done. She's got about $40,000 she's sick. She gets her disability, so she gets about $1,700 a month. They give her $100 a week to live on. So since I've been involved with her independently, we've been able to get her house. It's not her personal housing, but they got her a nice amount of time in a hotel, which is something they could have done a long time ago. They give her more than one check now a week to live on. And now they're at the point where they don't even talk to me. They rather talk to her. When over the last 3 years, she's been such an aggressive client that she's been banned from GCB. She's been banned from everywhere. They wouldn't deal with her. But now they're willing to deal with her. And I mean, so that's kind of my journey. And I happened to meet Miss Erica. Because I knew my job, I wasn't really micromanaged, so I was able to do what I needed to do for the most part. I just happened to stop in bars, grab some breakfast, Miss Erica was there. And we just started to talk, converse. And we found out that we had the same path and our vision and world were aligned. So we've been working together ever since. And she's been inspiring me. Already having her nonprofit going and everything. Inspired me to get mine going. And it also inspired me to my God.
Something else was left for a lady for you, Either one, yeah.
I'll go next. My name is Journey. So my journey is, okay, so I always knew I wanted to do like social work, open up group homes. That's what I'm like, was raised to do. My grandma do that, so I'm trying to follow my grandma's footsteps. But I never knew like what I really wanted to do. I always knew I was gonna do that, but I didn't really have like my own calling until I went to college. My family, it was more so like I didn't feel the support, and so I feel like they left me at college by myself. Me, if you're gonna leave me on the island, I'm gonna survive anyway. I'm gonna make it happen. The thing about healing is you never know like when it's that stop sign, like that stop line, that finish line. People can't be like, oh, I'm gonna be healed in 30 days. No, you don't know when you're gonna be healed. It was just this one time on New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day, I seen this quote from like a Bible verse. And it said, daughter, your faith has healed you. Please go be free from your sick and suffering. I knew that I was was healed from that Bible verse. Ever since then, I just took off with case management. I graduated with my bachelor's in social work. I have a mom like how your family is about like, that's not gonna be enough money. That's how my mom is. And I'm the type of person who can't tell me nothing about money. I'm gonna figure that part out. I don't need nobody for that but God. And the people that's God brings into my life. So I shut her down with that, like, no, I'm not finna do, she wanted me to be a dentist. I was at the dentist office, my dentist was like, that's not gonna be enough money, you probably need to be into dentistry. And I'm like, nah, I don't wanna do that. So I'm telling mom, like, mama, stop doing that, I got my little plan going on, just leave me alone with what I got going on. So she's like, all right, Journey. But ever since then, I worked at Tower House, I did not like Tower House at all. Those are the type of like companies, I don't want to bash no company, but they'll put like all these people on your caseload, and it's like, how can I help 60 people? Some people want the help, some people don't. Some people are codependent on these services, so it's like, what am I really doing? Like, I need to really be out in this field helping people. When I started working at the new job that I work at now, Transformations, the caseload was less, so I can more focus on my clients and what their needs are. So I'm just not, all these clients are not coming upon me to where it's like, I'm burnt out, yeah, I'm overwhelmed. I just want to have a set caseload to where I can really help these people and the people that actually wants to help. So right now, I'm enjoying being a case manager. We call it like qualified mental health specialist. I still go by case manager. I don't really care about the titles and stuff. I can get my licensure to be a therapist, but right now I'm chilling in the field. I'm chilling in the community with my clients. I'm outside.
Patricia, go right.
I love my Patricia. But yeah, that's my journey, and I'm still going on my journey. Right.
So me, I would say I was kind of forced into case management. I say that because I worked a job for 24 years, right? When I worked that job, it was so unfulfilling, but it took great care of my family, you know. So I kind of became a robot, you know. Just get through it, because you got to provide for this family. You have these kids, you have this wife, you got to provide. I learned that from my dad, right? Now the story about my dad is he's not the man that created me, but he's the man that created me, if that makes sense. You know, he stepped into my life when I was a baby, like all my baby pictures, it was just me and my mom, right? But all my life has been me and my dad and my mom. So it's like, where was you at in the baby pictures? When I turned 18 years old, I found out that the man that made me, that created me, my dad, right, the one that raised me, wasn't my father. I had a father that created, I had a biological, you know. So, not to be so long-winded, but that showed me, my dad showed me that you don't always have to be blood to be family. You don't always have to be, you know, like all my uncles and my dad, and my brother, they all 6 feet plus, right? And I was always this little dude running around the house looking at all these big old cats, but they never made me feel out of place. You get what I'm saying? They always made me feel like part of the family, you know? So, fast forward to how I got to this place was working the job, you know. My son gets murdered June 10th, 2020. I take 6 months off of work. I go back to work, they set my schedule, they set everything up right, but it still didn't feel like it was enough, you know what I'm saying? I had this daycare, I won't put no work into this, you know, because I'm putting work into somebody else. Like she said, the money's always going to be there, right? But it was the fear of security, you know? Like, well, I got health benefits here, and that was everybody, and I kept telling, I've been telling people I was going to be in the post office when I started the post office, right? But I'm not a hustler, I'm not going to be out in the world, I'm not going to be on the street. I just gave my life to the post office, 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. But it put my family in the house on the golf course, you know? But it was always unfulfilling, right? So when my son got taken, right? When he got taken, that was like my light. That was my push. You know, I would like to say like, you know, when he got murdered, that I was cool, but I wanted to die too. You know, what am I gonna keep doing? They took my junior away, right? But thank God that God didn't grant my wishes, right? So my son gets murdered. I go back to the post office. I worked there for 2 years. They set it up so sweet. And then I got rolled up on my off day for leaving early on my off day. That was my first write-up in 24 years at the post office. But that was my push out. Because I gave him so much time. I gave you so much time. And now you're going to write me up for leaving out on my off day? Like I came in, I gave you 4 hours. I ain't got to give you my whole 8. I already give you 40 a week. You know what I'm saying? So they wrote me up on my off day, and then after that, I just made the decision. Like sooner or later, I was thinking like, how am I gonna get out of here? How am I gonna get out of here? I thought about just passing out, faking chest pain. I thought all these things, right? And all God said was just lose your soul. Everybody always said, I can't imagine, you know, losing the kid. So yeah, I'm messed up. So I'm gonna go out here and take some mental health break, right? So I go take the mental health break, and my first week when I'm there, right? Omar is in Romine. Omar was in the parking lot, right? He was in the parking lot. He's passing out flyers, and at this point, I'm financially cool, right? So you know, money goes pretty fast though. But I took Omar's card and I said, okay, I'm gonna call you, right? And then, like you said, right? My daughter, when she graduated high school, she said she was going to school to be a social worker. I'm like, why are you doing that? Ain't nobody making no money in social work. Like, what's that for? How dare I say that, right? So I meet Omar and I meet Romai in the parking lot, and I kind of refer some kids from here to there, you know. So throughout the months, and you know, I was probably, you know, cool for about a year, you know, and then my money started getting funny. So I called Omar. I'm like, I'm ready to work, you know. And he said, you ready to work? He said, you sure? What about the daycare? I said, daycare ain't really doing that well right now, right? So I need some money to put in my pocket. I got to continue to keep on living. And my first clients was the Jacksons and Brother Freeman. And when I first started working, they said, put you with Miss Erica Jackson, but she don't play with her kids. She don't play about her kids. And I said, cool. So I remember, you know, because now you got to do this introduction. Journey was the trainer, right? So they teach you all this stuff. They teach you all these notes and stuff. I pick up on what I want to pick up, right? So I'm just sitting there and I'm training and stuff. Like, so it wasn't that Journey didn't train me. It's just what I took from it. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm a hands-on experienced person. So now I got to make the introduction to Miss Erica when I call her. And she says, I don't even know if you remember this, right? Because I called her, she didn't answer, right? And then she called me back like, hello? And I got to give a spiel, right? Hey, Miss Erica, I'm Antoine, this and that. I just want to meet your kids and this and that, you know. But I don't have no system. I don't have no formula with case management, right? I just know how to be a man from my dad, and I know how to be a dad from my dad. And I raised a bunch of kids. So, and I was a bad kid. I was an alleged bad kid, right? So that's how I got through in the case management. One reason, because when my son was taken, I said I don't want parents to go through what I went through. So if I can do anything for my brothers, I call them my brothers. If I can do anything for my brothers, I have to do it, because us as people, we're the ones that keep destroying each other. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn self-love. We have to get rid of self-hate, you know? And just meeting like the Jacksons, and meeting Breeze, meeting Britain, and Gay, just all my guys. Like, you know, it's just been a fulfilling thing. So I was going to this psychiatrist, Dr. Kenneth Washington, right? And Dr. Kenneth Washington, he is a therapist for the babies, you know? And Dr. Kenneth Washington said, when you love what you do, you ain't got to worry about money. And I'm like, what you talking about? He said, when you love what you do, you ain't got to worry about money. And it makes a lot of sense to me. I love working with my guys. I love going to see Brittany and Josh and King and Gabe. Just being their brother, just being their mentor. Just, man, why are you tripping, man? Because I'm getting the 411 from moms, right? And that's another problem with this whole thing. As a man, right, that was raised by a man that didn't create him, those are my boys. That's my boy. You get what I'm saying? And it's a, I'm riding with you to the end type thing. You know, I'm invested in you, right? So, last year when I first met Johnson, he just really tripping out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Just really, really tripping out. But I also saw how special he was. You know what I'm saying? King, so demanding. You gotta take your nose with your yeses, King. Because when he got told no when we first met, he really, excuse my language, tweak out on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, Mr. A gonna do whatever he can do, but you gotta be cool too, bro. You know? So that's my case management mission is just to be able to be an advocate for families, an advocate for mothers, an advocate for kids, and just an example of what community and family looks like being blood or not.
And Mr. Agnew, how long have you been case manager?
It'll be 2 years or more. It'll be 2 years or more.
So when I first got you, Mr. A, I was fussing.
Mhm.
Cause Miss Journey, no, I did not like change. I was still in my healing journey, so change for me was like, no. I said I didn't want it. I was demanding. Miss Danielle was like, just give me some time. I was like, only because you and Mr. Meyer, Mr. Omar said that Miss Journey was like, just, I was like, only because y'all said it, because I trust y'all. But I don't know this man. I want Mr. Brandon. I don't know Mr. Brandon forever. And then I just fell in love with Miss A. I tell everybody like, y'all would think that these boys daddy, but Mr. A be showing up, right? He be at the table for parent teacher conference, and for a woman that never had their kids' dads or anybody just to be there for their kids, though, like they show up. Miss Journey too, like show up and show out for my babies, for sure. I love it.
It's a community, it's
Yeah.
a village.
And we take Spanish now.
Yeah, and see, I don't have any case management or social, I just have mother skills, single mother before. It was rough. I lived out in Sims Township for about 6 years before I came back to the city. The education out there in the suburbs is great, very great, but the opposite, the Caucasian people have a tendency of getting their masters off of the black family, because they don't have any knowledge of what's going on in the family. So I moved back down here in the city, worked for CPS school system, off and on for, it would have been about 30 years. Lived in we're moving from Sims, moved in Evanston, which was, crime was very high. But the senior manager that I stayed there for about 14 years, wound up getting injured and had to give up where I was staying at. I have 2 twin boys, they're my youngest. And within the last, 15 years, my one youngest son has really been the support for me, his family, our family. And right now, I can thank God that he didn't go out here and get hung up on the wrong thing. May of this year, he became a Cincinnati police officer. So, he wants to get out here and help the youth. A friend of mine asked me, had my son ever thought about being a mentor for young and the teenage guy, he said yeah, but right now his plate is kind of full trying to, do certain things, you know, with his job, cause he's going into a different learning experience because he worked at Metro for 11 and a half years, and he's only 37. And he got tired of the bus and went to the post office for a couple of years. And he had a friend that has been on the police force for about 8 years and encouraged him to go on in there. And just before he was getting ready to have the graduation, that's when all that stuff occurred with the officer killing the teenager and then the father running over, where the father ran over. So it was a lot of stress on my part because I didn't know if he was gonna have to come out and riot gear because there was a lot of stuff going on in the city. And like I said, me, Erica, like I said, working food service at CPS, but they terminated me. But I'm working on that too. And I know there's a guy, and I met Erica, like we live like a house away from each other. And I was seeing the kids out playing, and I never actually involve myself with them because I'm still learning people in our neighborhood, and I didn't know how she was going to be by me, you know, interacting with her children. And then one day I just happened to have some stuff to see if she needed it. And she said, anything that you have, Miss Cruz, we don't discriminate, you know. And I told her, I said, I'm kind of have my defenses up on people because some people you come involved with, you know, I know it's a lot of mental illness out here and a lot of people do not want to seek help because when we were coming up, I'm 63 years old, mental illness, there was a lot of resources for people, but now it's not anymore. And I don't want to step on people's toes by saying something and then have to, you know, come out and lie. So I just, you know, try to involve myself around good vibe people I can feel, you know. I stand off kind of a little bit to observe. But it's been a pleasure meeting you all. And I pray everybody who's going through something or has fear with something to put it in the hands of the Most High. He's going to guide us through it because He has thus far put me in a new mindset on a lot of different things, you know, for his jobs, people, you know. I want to do my own business one day because I'm not the one that want to be micromanaged. You know, I'm willing to help anybody out that needs help, you know. I'm just, you know, a person that likes to move around. And I wish all of you all success in your journeys. And we know that He's going to bless us. So that's my testimony.
And Mr. Britt.
Yeah. So for me, like growing up until 8, with my mom and my dad. But for me, I didn't really have no like really good memories with them too. So the most I can remember, I don't know what age I was, but I remember them just arguing. That was just my vision of it when I was there. So, you know, seeing that, I was a kid, I didn't really know how to really think or what it really was, you know, really. So, after 8, it was just me and my mom and my 2 sisters. So, growing up, I didn't really have like a father figure. So, I had to figure out the male values and how to take care of myself, how to think, how to, you know, kind of being a man on my own, right? But one thing I did have, I played basketball. So that's what my dad got me into. So basketball was kind of my outlet, my gateway to express myself. You know, that's where that's where I got all my emotions out. You know, because we're at home and we ain't really. I ain't gonna say my mom was struggling, but she was, to be honest. It was hard for her. So, and especially as I got older, I realized that more. She didn't tell me. She never told me that she was struggling. But I could always see. She always I'm coming to work. She's tired, and I was kind of more mature, so I understood it more. So, growing up, so around 9 to 10, I had my baby sister. She was born, so that added another responsibility for me. You know what I'm saying? My mindset. So, my thoughts was just I'm gonna try to make it 10 years. That's always what I've been trying to do. I always aim for the top goal. I never wanted anybody to belittle my dreams, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. I remember I was at the doctor one time and I told her that, and she was like, "Nah, you can't plan B, you can't do that." So that made me want to do it more. Right? So just stuff like that, it motivated me to do better, keep going, and so that kind of just kept happening. Just keep playing basketball. That was the only thing I did. And I think people ain't really know me. I think at school I was just a funny person. Everybody see me smiling, right? But deep down I knew I was really truly feel. You know what I'm saying? Really happy. So from there, as I got older, I think it got worse, right? So my mental only kept going worse, and I knew that my junior year, so 2023, that was the start of all the hardships in my life. So it was just everything. So I was 16, going with girls, basketball, I was injured, and just financially, I really seeing everything at a full view, or how everything was. So it was a hard year. So from October to 2024 October, it was just horrible. And I met Antoine in March of 2024. So him being in my life, that was really the first male figure that I could really say that really helped show me what it was to be a man. And him being in my life changed me so many ways. Everything that he taught me patience, taught me how to be accepting of your losses, who you are, right? Be proud of yourself, no matter what wins, losses, no matter. So him being in my life, it got me. That was the hardest time in my life, and I think it was just because of all the pressure and just all the responsibilities I felt as a young man. And he got me good for sure. He definitely helped me. And my faith in God had always been a key factor in my life. But 2023, 2024, that's when I really felt that connection with God. Because he was always in my heart, but I never really had a relationship. I never prayed, talk to God when he sit down and we actually talk. So having God in my life just taught me to just be grateful. That's the main thing. Just be grateful and just be blessed and just be alive. Right? When I wake up, I always say I got bad days. I'm just alive, I'm breathing. Being able to be here to talk about my past, talk about things I dealt with. That's a blessing in itself for everybody to be here talking about that. So I always just my mindset now is just I'm gonna have a good day, right? And that's what changed. Is that mindset of waking up and I'm down on myself. I gotta get through the day. I gotta do all this, X, Y, Z, whatever. And just that mindset change of that to just having a positive outlook on everything and just being just grateful, just living. That's the biggest thing. Grateful, living. That's what it is right now. And so quit basketball. And that took, like, it took a lot of time for me to quit, but that was the only thing I had, right? The only thing I had. Everybody around me keep playing, everything like that. But I was pretty good at basketball. I was number 2 in the city for scoring, so I was pretty good. But it was always in my heart that later on just made me not want to do it. I didn't have really a passion for it, and so that happened. And that was just a big thing in itself because that was the only thing I really had. I felt that passion going away from it. So from there, I decided I'm like, well, what's something else I like to do, right? And the main thing I like to do is just make people laugh, like so I make somebody enjoy their day, right? Try to just make somebody smile. That's always been one of my goals, right? So from there, I decided to do YouTube. I'm like, let me try YouTube. I've been watching it my whole life, I see people. I'm like, no, let me try it. So I made my first video, and I love to do it. I think my first video, it was bad too. I didn't have a shirt on in the video. I was like, the camera was bad, everything. So, but I love to do it though. It was a new passion. So I've been doing that for the past year, and that helped me get to know certain people, certain connections, and the people in the basketball community. I helped them. I made a video for somebody that's trying to get up in basketball and trying to make it. So that's kind of, I'm not like y'all professionals, y'all great at y'all job, but I'm trying to. I've been trying to put my impact on the community, especially with people close to my age. So I'll say that's the main thing right now is just trying to help people and make people laugh right now. And be grateful of every opportunity I get.
And congratulations, Mr. Brennan. It's a pleasure to meet you. Definitely, and we need you on the team for sure for the youth. So we about to go into winter terrace. We about to start and they get it closed. But I feed the homeless, but my passion is the kids. So it's like, how about we sit this down for a minute and we go help these babies. So we're going to be starting going to winter terrace, and I'll definitely we go to Saturday Hoops. I don't know if you ever heard about Saturday Hoops, but that's like my vision times a billion though, because I'm like, okay, it's good enough to play basketball, but how about we have like some real partnerships with these babies and give them some real love. Like it's good to try to give Patricia money and but Patricia loves one-on-one time with Miss Journey. She like to have a long time with Miss Journey. That's like her best friend. She feel like ain't nobody has time with Miss Journey. So like it's good that they do what they do, but I want to bring that plus more. And we definitely need young men like you to show them like, hey, I was going down this road, but look, I got myself together. Because I always say the greatest person to say, I know how you feel is somebody that really done been through what you've been through. So we definitely gonna need you along on this journey with us for sure. Definitely proud of you too.
Thank you. Yeah. And for winter terrace, it's crazy to say that because, my rec, we played against their rec, and from there I built. So I know some of the kids in the winter terrace too, and I can see how they kind of going down. So I'll be cool with that. So.
Absolutely. Them kids, mom,
These are kids, there's a lot of these kids, I worked with them in school with them, so, it's heartfelt to me, they will always come up to me, and I don't mind feed nobody. If they hungry, they wouldn't be, across the board, they feed the same size to the elementary as they do in the high school kids. Then the high school kids is about like
They are size.
that size. They're gonna eat it, and they all wanna throw the food away at the end of the day. Why not take it for food and give
We
it?
gonna put that in the capsule project too.
Like, now y'all talking about y'all wanna
present that
reveal
to the board.
Don't throw it away. Now y'all wanna reheat the food, but a lot of them don't even know how to reheat. So why would y'all do that? Cause it's gonna look worse than what it looked like the day before. So, and like, it's not enough, I guess, some parent support in these communities, especially in the projects,
hear a board member on the news or you hear a board member on the radio, you think like,
But you know,
automatically,
No.
just being in the community, just being one of
Right.
those parents, you think, how can I get
Right.
to that person? You don't really
Right.
think. I know now, cause I work in schools, that I go to the board meetings and that those are open, like you can go on the website, because it's St. Public Schools and nonprofit, and see all their board meeting minutes and see everything. A lot
but
of
they,
people don't
you
even
know,
know
they
that stuff
have,
exists.
to myself, you know, they have these board meetings and discussing budgets and all of that. But my real concern is they don't do enough. They talk the stuff in their board meetings and then don't bring it into our.
Well, that's what I was, well,
Yeah,
We gonna
that's
get
why-
learned that, so they gonna,
And that's
they
why
gonna
I, you know,
they need to change the times.
and they
board
lose,
meetings,
you know,
'cause
they
parents
make
can't
it,
make that about.
right, and you know, there's another thing with
Yeah,
me.
that's
Better design it.
Yeah,
So
and
that we
another,
can't.
you know, another thing, you know, not just that they have these, because a lot of people have transportation problems. Go to some of these communities and have board meetings
That's in the schools.
at different locations, you know, to let people know that, look, we interested in this neighborhood, seeing this get done or whatever. Do we have people that can help facilitate this project or whatever? And it's not, it's like, you know, y'all wanna have it down there at the Ed Center,
At 4:30.
and it's difficult.
And nobody's gonna make it
Right.
with them because
And
it's
then
during
they
their
don't,
hours.
right, and then they don't have, you know, where they, include the parent in these LSDMC meetings or PTA meetings, you know, don't put it out there for people to know, so they don't know.
even the PTA and PTO meetings, like,
Yep.
half of them scheduled 5 things at one time, you know? Like, they want me to be a part of Patricia's PTA. How can I do that and do my class at the same time? Well, we're on virtual, but if I'm in the class, how am I supposed to listen and pay attention? So I feel like they need to do a survey on what is the best time slot for parents.
So, yeah, people know.
But then that's gonna be Saturday morning, and you're not gonna be.
Well, that's what they gonna have to do.
But you know, it's not the community, it's not no community anymore, you know, from when I was growing up, you know, we had
Yeah,
people, the care, the parents that cared about other people's kids. You know, my mom, she's deceased, but, she used to be a counselor at, Fort Hays, when it was Porter, when it was junior high. And she, lived in the West End, and, she would have outreach where she take the kids from King's Out and different stuff, you know, started up her own little, group, it was called Focus, and, you got a lot of parents and people involved, and you don't have that anymore, you know, it's like,
Cause they
The parents
offering
are-
Sundays and start
Yeah.
offering socials where you get to know the parents and the
Yeah.
community. Stop trying to feed us ice cream like you 30 and have some socials with us and get
Right.
to know us.
and, you know, I just hope that, you know, now that people, where these parents see that the predicaments that we can get into, like, you know, the government shutdown, and it's affecting, you know, people's ability to keep food on the table, pay their utilities, their rent and stuff like that, that we, as a community, needs to.
I just wish they keep them at the pantries because the pantry reminds me of this.
Areas
Everybody
together.
in the pantry now.
So, you know, but I enjoy talking with you all and hearing
I'm
your
not
stories. So,
So the piece of paper I just passed out, since we behind on time, we can do both ceremonies at the same time. So the first sheet was stuff you wanna burn and let go of, something like your past, like whether it's people or things you go through cycle or whatever. So this is what we gonna do with our ignition. So these are things that you, like goals that you have for the future, like just things that you are on the pursuit of, that you want to flourish into. This is like more of a manifestation piece. Like, this is what I'm presenting to you, God, because the Bible says to write your plan and then present it to me. And so this is our symbolic of us presenting our plan.
and like, you know, with you know, with your legacy, you know, I had so many people to And the lady been helping, and I was like, the helpline.
This is the other end of the everything.
So what do you wanna do?
Just whatever you want to ignite into the future, like you were talking about, pouring into the youth, working with the youth or whatever it is you want to do, your YouTube blowing up or whatever. Because we don't, ignite stuff together. I'm about to write on this, I already know what I'm going to say. It's millions. I need the money.
I am too.
And the buildings.
All of us in
We
here.
need stages, buildings, and money.
And I was looking, I was downtown riding around, and there's so many housing buildings they building up, but it's not.
It's a lot of boarded up properties wasting away
You
that
know,
they need to put on clearance, like they put it in the stores, put the now the summer clothes on clearance, they need to put these properties on clearance and let people come in and bid these properties. As long as they have permission and hold them accountable for whatever they give them the money in the property for. That's what the city needs to do, they need to be on business and stop wasting money, sitting in them. Gotta get the buildings out there. The sheriff needs to, like, they just sent the email about a grant, I'm gonna apply for it tomorrow.
That fire still going?
that's what I was called, every car,
It done burnt out. Yeah, you don't have to design it.
We just take it and just burn it and throw it in there.
She bring the fire back home. Hey, back home.
Oh, we can go ahead and come out, now, have the rest and go ahead and get this, this time, that is the 8 year time.
It's only been 48 minutes, Miss Erica.
Did anybody,